I think that a lot of like hating on a particular candidate might actually help them because all you're doing is drawing more attention to them and people are analyzing them more. Like during the whole Billy Bush thing, me and my husband were not sitting around talking about, oh, this is so gross that Trump did this. Why? Because it was one more crazy thing that they said he did. We were like, oh, well, why did he feel the need to impress Billy Bush so much? Well, maybe because he's in LA and he's not in LA that often. Like we were engaging in all this analysis of why Trump behaved the way he did that had nothing to do with how deplorable and gross what happened. I mean, yeah, we realized that it was really terrible, all that, like, you know, what was done and said and on that audio. But the thing about it is he said so many horrible things even before that. So it was kind of like it wasn't anything new. And also, people are kind of like, they may have hated Trump so much that eventually a part of them started feeling sorry for him or started liking him, which is insane and impossible for some people to imagine, but that happens. I mean, you can have like a sort of semi-lovable villain, or you can have a situation where people, you know, like the whole stardom thing is a roller coaster anyway. People love you, they hate you, and then they love you again. So it could be that, like, you know, people are like, I don't know what part of the cycle we're on. Okay, so we like Trump, so we hate him. Maybe some people were like, oh, well, I kind of like him again. After all, he's in their face so much. And so I think that contributed to some of it. That all the attention he was being given ultimately helped him because it focused too much on him. And I know that maybe they did that because they couldn't think of anything like exciting enough about Hillary to focus on, but that's a negative for your candidate. You have to either find a candidate that people are excited about or find things that make your candidate exciting. Like, don't Michael Moore make a movie called Trumpland and think people are gonna get that it's a love letter to Hillary. It's like, huh? Nobody thought. It's just gonna focus on Trump more, and it's gonna make people think about him more. So, and everybody's used to the idea that nobody's perfect. Hillary's not perfect, Trump's not perfect, I'm not perfect, no one's perfect. So the more they like see someone, the more they'll like, oh, well, he's an asshole, but he's my asshole. Like, you know, people might feel that way. It seems hard to imagine, but, you know, it's possible. I think that sometimes the media takes for granted that it has like certain people on their side, but I think that sometimes people feel like certain groups of people may feel like they're used for political expediency. Like during election time, it's like, oh, well, we're the media, we're liberal, and of course the Mexicans are going to be smart and vote for us, and the black people are going to be smart and vote for us. But then other times the media just ignores them. Like, you know, how many people do you see in, I mean, I don't know, maybe like in films and stuff like that have leads that are of color. I mean, there's always that issue going on too. So people may tend to feel like that the liberal media uses them for political expediency when it's convenient for them, but is actually perfectly happy to ignore them half the time. So that means that they will also tend to ignore whatever the liberal media is trying to tell them to do, because they may not necessarily believe that it's in their best interests. I still think the biggest reason is probably the arrogance, I hate to say this, and just the heavy-handed, like, liberal spin, really pushing everybody away from Trump as hard as they could. I think it completely backfired, and it completely worked in his favor, and it completely kept him in everybody's mind, and it completely in a crazy way, won people's sympathies. Because here they are saying, oh, he's so bad, let's put him in a box. Five days or however long, a week before the election, we're going to release this tape of Billy Bush that's really going to, like, be the nail in the coffin. People probably saw that as so manipulative, and they could see through that, and they felt like, why are they trying so hard to paint this guy as the bad guy? I mean, people can identify with that. People of color might feel like, oh, poor guy, he's the he was so the underdog. And it may make them actually start to feel so, like, I remember, I'm ashamed to say this, slightly feeling sorry for him, slightly feeling bad that he had this whole, he was trying, you know, they were trying so hard to paint him as this person that was like, no one, you know, he's not allowed to, just put him in a box so much, because, like, people of other groups have experienced that, and that may make them tend to kind of like him. So I think that, yeah, I think that's one of the things that helped him. And so if you really don't want him to win, find what's appealing about your candidate. Don't just rely on saying that, you know, this person's horrible, we're going to put this person in a box, we're going to put a nail in the coffin. You know how many people that are just going to, like, feel bad for him and just vote for him? Well, I think some people did. So, but then again, you know, my husband was like, you're crazy. Nobody made him say all those horrible things. He said all those horrible things. Therefore, you know, it's not as if anybody's trying to paint him a certain way. He did it to himself. Well, there's an argument for that too.